Out of curiosity, how many of you listen to music? Interesting. Every single person sitting in this auditorium today will have a different association with music. It has a different impact and perception on each individual listening to it. Each song, each lyric, each melody means something different to everyone. For example, the song I played as I walked out on stage, what did that make you think of? I'm sure everyone thought of something completely different. However, music is not just used for pure enjoyment. It has other effects as well. Did you know, by listening to certain types of music, we as humans are more likely to pay attention and focus on the task in front of us? Studies have proven that music has the ability to activate both the left and right sides of the brain at the same time. It is the activation of both of these hemispheres that can result in maximized learning abilities and an increased memory. How crazy is that? Now, while you may just think I'm making up some funky little story, there is actually 30 years worth of psychological research to back this theory. It began in 1993, when psychologist Francis Rorschach created and performed an experiment called the Mozart effect to test the relevance of listening to classical music while taking a test. This experiment was conducted on 72 random college students, where she played 10 minutes of a Mozart piano sonata to half the group, while the other half sat in complete silence. They were then given a spatial reasoning test. Results from these tests showed that the half that spent their 10 minutes listening to music scored significantly higher than the other half of the group. A more modern experiment conducted by cognitive psychologist Dr. Hetland then furthered these studies. Only this time, the assessment was focused on a total of 700 preschool and elementary age students. Similar steps were taken, except the children in half of the group were required to take part in a 15-minute music lesson where they were actively involved. The other half of the group were kept in a calm and controlled environment where there were little to no interactions made. The final analysis showed an immense gap in spatial reasoning, larger than those in the original Mozart effect experiment. While this theory has never actually been scientifically validated, music has been proven to have beneficial psychological impacts on us as humans. Personally, music has always been a large part of my life. For as long as I can remember, I've always loved to sing and dance. During primary school, classroom music was where I was in my element, and it's always been my favourite subject. I've always found comfort and relief when playing music. It's a breakaway of what is going on outside, and it allows me to shut out my problems and escape from any worries. I have always achieved exceptional grades since prep, with A's in every subject. And then in year 3, I began my musical adventures by learning to play the violin with my music teacher, Mrs. Robinson. During my first year, I received a highly commended in the Maryborough Eisteddfod and won the school's music scholarship. I had such a blast playing the violin that I started taking an interest in other instruments. The flute became one of the many that lit a spark in my imagination. My band teacher, Mrs. Richardson, helped me to make my dream become a reality. I then placed second at the Eisteddfod and was selected to be the recipient of the school's music scholarship yet again. Throughout my time in instrumental music, I have attended countless music workshops, Eisteddfods, and even SHEP, a state honours ensemble program designed to extend and encourage students and their musical abilities. Unfortunately, after year 7, I had to say goodbye to music due to the lack of an available music teacher. This had a large impact on my life. When I stopped taking music during school, I stopped learning new music topics and songs, and eventually I lost my spark and interest in my much-loved music. I believe this had a huge impact on my grades. Now, do you remember how I mentioned the Mozart effect? Well, when my life lacked the musical input it once had, something inside me began to slow. My grades started to slip, and that straight A student then became a B student. In year 9, music became an option for one of my electives, and that decision did not even require a second chance. After a term of taking music, I noticed an increase in my grades and finally found that little spark that I had once lost. A year later, and I am now back at that A level I once was before, and I've increased my musical abilities by learning 2 new instruments along the way. I've also represented the school in music and was fortunate enough to have had the opportunity to compete in the Eisteddfod again this year. Since those early experiments first showed the benefits of listening to music, several different studies have reinforced these initial outcomes. Listening to music can make a person smarter and put their mind into study mode. Students today are being told to listen to a minimum of 10 minutes of music before doing homework or taking an exam due to the enhanced learning capacities that this produces. Other positive outcomes of listening to music include improving one's mood, helping to calm someone down, and providing motivation and an increased concentration. Music therapy is a practice I have put into place in my own personal life, and I have found nothing but improvements in my ability to concentrate and retain new information, and I urge you to do the same. In conclusion, our relationship with music is as diverse as the melodies themselves. The Mozart effect underscores how music can engage our minds, enhancing learning and memory. As we've seen through experiments and personal stories, music goes beyond entertainment, providing motivation and focus. So let's harness music's power to enrich our lives, boosting mood, tranquility, and learning. Let the harmonies of music continue to resonate in our journey toward a more vibrant and empowered existence.